Charlie Angus, you're a friggin' animal. Hi, I'm Joey Only, the caribou weather dude up here in the mountains, up in Wells, British Columbia, 3,935 feet above sea level, out in the Caribou Mountains. That's where I am. You know, I had some weird comment yesterday like, oh, a guy in his basement there giving political analysis. Yeah, that's something there. Wearing a toque. Like, wearing a toque makes me not fucking smart. Actually, A, I'm not in my basement. Wait, no, my basement's on the first floor here. That's what's going on. Yeah, you're right. What could be more Canadian than some hillbilly out in the fucking mountains sitting here telling you the way it is, you know? Like, what could be more Canadian? Some grumpy old guy who's like, the outside world is fucked. I don't want to leave the valley. I don't want to go down to the city. I don't want to go to civilization. You're all crazy. Here is why. Anyways, Charlie Angus, you're an animal. There it is.
This is bad news. My God. I'm falling out right now. Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They drum up in this.
For the rest of you who want to sit and watch this show, he was just on CNN this morning. We understand that Trudeau's having a second phone call this afternoon with Trump, whether or not he capitulates. I mean, it could be the goal all along was to send the markets into chaos so they can come and buy up things at low prices, him and his billionaire buddies, and then make a shit ton of money when it rebounds. Create a problem, then solve a problem. That could be the goal here. But, you know, they've been poking fingers at, you know, could we make Canada the 51st state? Putting the feelers out on us. And fuck that. Charlie Angus speaks it like it is. Here on the Bad News Show. Let's go.
See Canada become our 51st state. We give them protection, military protection. We don't need them to build our cars. I'd rather see Detroit or South Carolina or
good luck with
any one of our Tennessee, any one of our states build the cars.
Where are you going to get your metal from, buddy?
We don't need them for the cars. We don't need them for lumber.
What are you going to put in the fucking fuel tank?
We don't need them for anything. We don't need them for energy. We have more energy than they do. We don't need them
more
for
energy than they do.
So I say, why are we doing this? Why are we willing to lose between $100 billion and $200 billion a year? We don't need them.
You're the richest country on the earth, or you were until you came to tank the economy.
And there are no tariffs. So I'd love to see that, but some people say that would be a long shot. If people wanted to play the game right, it would be 100% certain that they'd become a state.
And we're joined now by Charlie Angus. He is a member of the Canadian Parliament. You
up
heard
there in
him
Cobalt,
there, sir.
Ontario.
What I'd like is for Canada to become our 51st state. He said it before. He just said it again moments ago. Your reaction?
Well, what President Trump also said is that the tariffs will not come off until we give up our birthright and our sovereignty to a convicted predator. That is never, ever, ever going to happen. So what Donald Trump has done is unified Canadians in a manner I've never seen before.
That's the truth.
And while Americans may be waking up to the tariffs, we've already started the pushback. People in Kentucky, did you know that your biggest export market for spirits is Canada? We just took everything off the shelves. California, did you know that the largest purchaser of wines in the world is the liquor agency in Ontario? You don't get any more California wines in Ontario. Elon Musk, our premier, just canceled a $100 million deal today. Canada is getting ready for this fight because we know that he's erratic. It may be this week, it may be next week, but there's a huge actual boycott going on in grocery stores, ordinary people stopping me on the streets. Nobody is buying anything that comes out of the United States right now because we understand this is a threat to who we are as a nation.
There are also Republicans here in farm states concerned about ingredients for fertilizers that come from Canada as well. There are a myriad of products that we are just learning about as Americans. Fascinating, although perhaps not under duress to learn about them. He's obviously looking for some kind of concession. You hear him. He talks about Colombia.
There's a myriad of products we're just learning about. It's like Americans don't know anything about how the outside world operates, yet they're angry about everything.
He's talking about Mexico and the 10,000 Mexican troops. And I know you view him as unreasonable, to say the least here, but do you think that ultimately Canada might end up conceding, or is that not even a possibility?
Wake up.
Well, I think the issue is that Donald Trump is claiming Canada's a narco state. The man's a liar. So Would we put some more money on the border? Sure. I'd love to put more money on the border to keep American guns from shooting our people on the streets. We would do that to avoid a trade war. We're reasonable as Canadians. But when you have somebody threatening our sovereignty, well, we're hunkering down for a fight here. So yes, for people in the grain growing belts, potash from Canada is essential. For the tech people, critical minerals, we've already had our BC Premier talk about shutting off the critical mineral flow. Wood, you need that. But the big issue, and I think it was raised by some of your previous panelists, auto. The auto sector is so integrated that within a week, even without the retaliatory trade pressure from Canada, you'll start to see Lansing, Toledo, Bowling Green start to sputter and go down, because this is just-in-time delivery. Our whole North American economy is based on this. So
One problem with your thinking there, though, Charlie, is that this is what Musk wants. He wants his competition to get tanked. He doesn't need...
Donald Trump thinks that Canada is his biggest enemy. The guy wouldn't stand up to Putin. He gives a feather to China, but he's going to pick a fight with us. Well, if that's the way it's going to be, we will be there pound for pound. It's going to hurt us a lot, but the American people are much more divided than we are right now, and we are unified. So
they don't even know what's happening.
We wait to see what comes next.
We're going to see this call, or hope to see soon what comes of it. It's supposed to take place in about 45 minutes. Would you say then that Canada is going to call his bluff, or is already calling his bluff?
Well, we've already announced, I think, $125 billion in retaliatory tariffs. We will give 21 days pause so that our companies can start to retool before we launch the next level. We've already started pulling off a lot of American products off the shelves prior to this. I'm hoping that our prime minister will cut a deal. I think with Donald, it's so important that he looks like he's won something. I mean, this isn't gunboat diplomacy. This is really, I don't know, like Al Capone in his syphilitic period trying to do a shakedown. So, yeah, we'll make concessions on something that, he can write a press release about. But on key areas, Canadians would hunt our leaders down if they bowed and kissed the ring to the man from Mar-a-Lago. It's not going to happen. So we shall see. I'm hoping that we can get through this and get back to work with our American cousins.
And you saw in the bottom corner there, video popped up, Mexican president speaks about her call with Donald Trump. You should see the speech that she gave. Oh, my God. It's unbelievable.
Okay, check this out. This is a video of this American guy, Keith Edwards, reacting to the Raptors game where Canadians were booing the American national anthem.
This guy is not Republican, by the way.
Yeah, buddy. You're about to find out who the fuck we are.
So upsetting to see.
That's so upsetting to see, he says. Yeah, he's not a pro-Trump guy, by the way. He's not like upset in the way that some Americans are, like, whoa, we should invade Canada now. They booed our national anthem. No, he's upset that it's come to this. I think he lives close to the Canadian border. He's New York Yankees hat, figure it out for yourself. Now let's watch this lying motherfucker tell everybody that Canada is very abusive of the United States.
Very abusive of the United States for many years. They don't allow our banks. Did you know that? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. If we have a U.S. bank, they don't allow them to go in. Canada's been very tough on oil, on energy. They don't allow our farm products in, essentially. They don't allow a lot of things in, and we allow everything to come in. It's been a one-way street. We subsidize Canada by the tune of about $200 billion a year. And for what? What do we get?
Your American empire exists because of us.
The people of Canada.
No, you don't.
I disagree with the leadership of Canada.
Fuck you.
And something's going to happen there. But if they want to play the game, I don't mind. We can play the game all they want.
And this just up in the CBC now. Trump has a good talk with Trudeau, then calls again for Canada to become 51st state. We has a good talk, yeah. So Trudeau and Trump spoke early Monday morning. They spoke about trade and the border, and they plan to speak again this afternoon, or they will. Details of the call have not been released. Trump said he had a good talk. He said, Canada's very tough. We're not treated very well by Canada, and we have to be treated well. These fucking crybabies. He claimed Canada doesn't want to take our agricultural products for the most part. It's an outlandish statement. The U.S. Is Canada's largest agricultural trading partner, representing 57% of Canadian food imports. Trump said he asked Trudeau a couple questions, and the Prime Minister will report back in the afternoon. I'd love to see Canada join the Union. He seems to acknowledge it would be a long shot, saying some unnamed people don't have a threshold for pain. What you're not counting for is the threshold for pain that Canadians have, how willing we are to suffer to keep Canada, Canada. Trump came to a deal with Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum earlier Monday. She's gonna put 10,000 troops on the border. I wouldn't trust him. He's going to go back on it. That's what Charlie Angus is saying, too. It's like, well, you can't really trust him, Like, even if he goes back now, it's like, well, a month from now, sure. Is it back on? It's like this instability still remains in the air. We're not satisfied now that we're doing business with somebody who's in good faith. So the coward leader, Paul Revere, asked Trudeau to send Canadian Forces troops, helicopters, and surveillance to the border now to save Canada-U.S. trade relations and address Trump's concerns about drugs and migrants. Well, there's no fucking problem with drugs and migrants. Everyone knows that. That's not coming from Canada. So don't eat up the lie. If we're going to send troops to the border, send it to the border because we're afraid of American terrorists, extremist militia groups crossing the border to do who knows what. Okay, let's be honest about this. He calls for the hiring of 2,000 more Border Service Agency guards. Sure, I think, we probably do need to think about security, but we have to think about security from these people, not to work in cooperation with them. We have to think about security of them because they are a threat to our sovereignty. Premier Scott Moe in Saskatchewan asked the federal government to put the CBSA under military command to address Trump's concerns, but these are bullshit concerns, Scott Moe. They aren't fucking real, so why talk about them as if they're real? The $2.6 billion, you don't want to deal in the realm of lies. You don't justify them to continue speaking a bullshit narrative. You do what Charlie Angus says, and you call bullshit on their narrative. The federal government announced to bulk up $1.3 billion in border plans. So these guys are saying this shit, but the feds are already doing that. They've launched a fentanyl crackdown. There's only been 19 kilograms that's been seized at the Canadian border, as opposed to the tens of thousands on the Mexican side. Until this point, Trump framed the tariffs as a way to hit back at Canada for ongoing trade deficit. A number of American banks do business in Canada, actually, with large lending and commercial investment banking operations. There are 16 U.S. bank-based subsidiaries and branches in Canada holding $113 billion in assets. $113 billion in assets in our country. American companies, American banks. Personal banking in Canada is largely the domain of Canadian-based banks. That's true. Canadian banks are routinely ranked among the safest in the world. Canada's been very abusive of the United States for many years. They didn't allow our banks. You know what? Canada does not allow banks to go in. If you think about it, that's pretty amazing. Yeah, it is pretty amazing because you just fucking made it up. It's amazing, the shit that I make up. Wow, let's all talk about it as if it's real, Scott Moe. In Monday, Trump said the true trade standoff's also a drug war. Hundreds of thousands of people have died in the U.S. Actually, what's going on is your criminal empires inside your country, which seem to be getting away with it. This is what the Mexican president was talking about today. She's saying, if you want to crack down the drug war, how are the American criminal cartels allowed to just go unchecked? You're saying that Canada's the problem. You got hundreds of millions of people there, and it's your drugs coming into Canada. It's like we're sending you pot, and you're sending us cocaine and fentanyl. American government data shows that comparatively little amounts of fentanyl has come across the border. Figures show U.S. Custom Border Agency's 19.5 kilograms at the northern border compared to 9,000 at the southwestern one. Despite the apparent standoff over these issues, Trump says he will speak to Trudeau at 3 p.m. today. So that's probably going on now or already has. By the time this comes out, there'll be new news to report on. So he says that we're ripping them off. We're ripping them off. This is a country that's been able to do business around the world and become the most powerful nation on the earth. Their corporations are running the show. They are the most powerful in the history of humanity. They have military bases in 100 countries plus around the world. 100, but they're the ones who are being hurt. They're the ones who are not being treated nice. They're the ones who are suffering. Think about what this bullshit actually means. We're going to see a wide variety of responses across Canada, and we'll have to wait and see what the new news is here in just a little bit. Unbelievably shocking time we're in. I got more bad news still yet coming for you later today, I think, because there's just so much to say right now. Make sure you check out my latest weather forecast. Make sure you hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend, become a Patreon member, and join the channel here and help support independent media, keeping it real. I'm just a fucking hillbilly up in the mountains of Canada, saying the way that it is. The world is crazy, okay? Bye.